This is Hold the Line, a war game that focuses on small skirmishes in the American Revolution. With a simple roll of the die, your army moves around the board to attack the opposite army. The game uses special tiles and rules to recreate different battle scenarios, which are all explained in the scenario book. For our lab, we played the Battle of Lexington and Concord and the Battle of Bunker Hill. The setup includes unit counts for both sides, terrain placement, and victory conditions. In addition, both players got a small cardboard reference sheet to keep track of scores, unit values, and other shorthands. First, Rowena and Abda played the Battle of Lexington and Concord scenario. No matter the scenario, America always goes first. In this scenario, America wins if they get 6 victory points, or prevents the British from completing their objective. The British win if they get 9 victory points, or conquer Lexington and Concord, which is the section in the back right corner of the board. To conquer Lexington and Concord, your units would need to use 2 actions of movement to exit the game board. Although this would make it seem easy for the British to win just by fleeing the game board, the British Army does not have enough units to gain their required number of victory points, forcing them to attack the Americans. This made the scenario much more balanced. Turns were as followed. You would first roll a die to see how many actions you get for that turn, with actions consisting of attacking and moving. When attacking, you roll the amount of dice equal to the amount of men on your hex, with a maximum of 3. If you and your enemy were right next to each other, you only needed a 4, 5, or 6 on a die to kill a unit. If you were 2 spots away, you needed a 5 or 6, and so on. You gain victory points by killing all units on a single hexagon. Movement only takes 1 action, and allows all units on a single hex to move to an adjacent hex. Some of the special rules include hexes containing leaders, which are the figures on horses. One of these special rules includes allowing hexes with leaders on them to move all the units on that hex an extra space with only 1 action. Another special rule concerning leaders is during an enemy's attacking phase. If an enemy rolls a 1 against a hex with a leader, that attack is considered a stray bullet and has the potential of hitting the leader. The team with the leader then rolls a die. If they too roll a 1, the leader dies. If not, the leader survives. One last thing to keep in mind while playing is the different terrain. Different terrain causes players to do some planning due to the fact that certain terrain doesn't allow movement through it. In this particular scenario, the British were hauled up in their corner, making it hard for them to maneuver around the area. However, it also made it hard for the Americans to come in to attack. In our game, Abda's plan of action was to attack with full force through both openings, while Rowena's plan was to attack those who attacked and conquer Lexington and Concord with the units in the back. However, Rowena knew she didn't have enough units to only win by conquering Lexington and Concord, so attacking Abda's army was imperative to winning. Each turn was basically the same, with each side attacking different units in order to gain victory points, with the exception of Rowena using some of her actions to conquer Lexington and Concord. Abda was lucky in that she rolled very high on her action die, allowing her to attack multiple times in a single turn. However, when actually attacking, she was not as lucky, only killing a few units throughout the game. In the end, with only a few units left on the board, Rowena used her actions to move around the board and attacking hexes that were alone and with only 2 units in them. Once Rowena had secured 7 victory points, she used all of her actions to run to the corner of the board and conquer Lexington and Concord before Abda could kill any more of her units. You can see from the last few minutes of the gameplay, Rowena went around picking off Abda's defenseless units. With them so spaced out, and with only 2 units on each hex, Rowena gained the last of her victory points here by taking the easy points and then fleeing to Lexington and Concord. Unfortunately for Abda, none of her units could catch up to Rowena's army, letting Rowena's last 2 groups leave the board and winning her the game. In the end, it almost seemed as though America had no chance of winning. Very few British units were killed at this point, and the American army was too spaced out on the board. Abda had no way to support her army and couldn't help her lonely units from being killed. Rowena used this to her advantage and conquered Lexington and Concord. With most of her army intact, she went on to winning the entire American Revolution.
Afterwards, Raoul and Nikki played the Battle of Bunker Hill. For the setup, Americans have to defend a point located behind hills and trenches, worth 2 victory points if the British capture the area. For victory, the Americans had to score 6 points and the British 7. In addition to the points on the map, each squad of soldiers that was destroyed was worth 1 victory point. Early on, Nikki's goal was to push past the defenders and get to 2 bonus victory points, whereas Raoul's plan was to push forward in a counterattack rather than wait for the enemy to come to him. Raoul, however, failed to remember that hills, like the one he was defending with the Patriots, gave him a tactical advantage and increased survivability, and decided to push forward and meet the enemy in battle. The firefights were quick and decisive, as British soldiers fired at point-blank range at the exposed Americans, whose charge proved to be the less sound tactical move. In the last gambit, Raoul moved up his artillery hoping to be able to rain down heavy fire on British soldiers who were threatening his lines. Once again, however, this move proved unwise, as the artillery piece was quickly destroyed by advancing British forces who, with superior rolls and numbers, pushed past the artillery fire and silenced the cannons. After Raoul lost his advantages, Nikki's British forces were able to rack up kill points, push past the trenches, and score the 2 bonus points. The British ranks quickly overtook the Patriots on the scorecard, thanks to an even playing field and some very poor rolls on the American side, with the British having scored 9 points and the Patriots having only scored 3 points through kills. With that said, our time with Hold the Line was over, and much unlike the generals and soldiers the game attempts to represent, we shook hands and made the video. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, and smash that like button. Peace.